Welcome to the Chamber of Schenectady County's Business Advisory Council interview with Angelo Santabarbara, who's a candidate for the 111th Assembly District. I'm Jack Aernecke, and I'm pleased to be your host today. The Chamber's Business Advocacy Council is bipartisan and issue-focused, and today we'll be talking about issues that affect businesses in Schenectady County and around the Capital Region. Angelo, welcome. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Jack. It's great to be here to talk about some of the issues in the district.
Well, one of the really important issues, I think, is education. Businesses all across the region rely on an educated workforce in order to hire people coming out of schools to do the jobs that are required for the 21st century. High priorities for Schenectady businesses. And yet, there are a lot of kids who are not graduating from high school and so on and so forth. To start with, how big a priority is education to you?
Well, since this is my first term in office, and from the moment I took office, education has been a top priority. We've been hearing from teachers, from students, from the community, from parents about how important the education system is, how important it is that children get a quality education in our communities. And we have worked very hard in the New York State Assembly to increase state aid to our schools. It has gone up significantly. Millions of dollars have been increased in state aid for our schools to make sure that we're providing the tools. We've heard from teachers what the priorities are, and we've heard from parents their frustrations over time that in the rural areas in the district I represent, our schools have been hard hit, budgets have been cut. And now it was time for the state to increase the aid to these schools. It's important for a community that the education system is the best that it can be for our children. Our children are. I have a 10-year-old daughter going to school. She just started school not too long ago. So I see it as a parent too. How important it is that we're able to compete with other schools, and we're able to compete with when our kids graduate, we want to have the best opportunity to find a good job. And to be able to be a part of the community. And it's also important for the business community, going back to the chamber aspect. One of the first things you look for in a community is how good the education system is. So we can do a lot of economic development, but we really need to make sure our schools are properly funded, our teachers have the tools that they need to be able to give our children the best education. And we want to make sure we're addressing the needs of the students as well, and so that they can explore and find those talents that they're good at and things that they're interested in. One of the, I'll just sidetrack here a little bit on a piece of legislation that I've sponsored. It's called Career Technical Education Diplomas, to allow students to find those interests, whether it's nanotechnology, computer science, and get specialized diplomas at the high school level so that they can develop successful careers in those areas of interest. That's a bill that I've been pushing since I've been in office, and I'm going to continue to push it to offer that type of diploma to our children. Increases in state aid are very important. We want to make sure that we keep fighting for those. We've seen increases, but we're not done yet. We've got to keep fighting. Got to keep a strong voice with parents and teachers. I want to hear directly from students as well. One of the things I've done in this district, the 111th district, I know you mentioned it. It's Schenectady, part of Albany, and Montgomery County as well. I've started a student cabinet program where we're going to bring students together from the schools across the entire district into one location. We're going to get together as a group, and I'm going to hear directly from the students. What are the issues that you are facing? What do you think is important? How can we improve our education system? And we want to hear not only from the parents and the teachers, but we want to hear from the students too. They're there. They see it every day.
They're on the front line.
Yeah, and I hear it from my daughter. My daughter swimming. She's in a swimming program, and she has access to a pool, and she swims with the Marlins in the Mahonison School District. But it's a talent that she would never find if she didn't get a chance to explore it.
Right.
So you want to hear these things from students. What is important? What are some of the things you're interested in? How can we help as state legislators? And it's great to have that interaction. So I started this student cabinet program. It's one of the first. It's the first sort of a program like this in the district. But I wanted to make sure that students have their voice. And then they can go back and tell their parents, hey, here's what I talked to the assemblyman about. Here's some things that are important to me, whether it's sports, whether it's an arts program, whatever it may be. We want to hear what kids are interested in. We want to hear how we can make school better for them. And we want to hear from certainly the teachers and parents, and take all that information together and figure out how we can do our job to make sure we're providing the best education for our communities.
Let's roll it back to money, where you said budgets have been increased, amounts of money going to school districts have been increased, but there's also a problem with being equitable, where you have Schenectady getting just a little over 50% of the state aid that it's supposed to get according to Superintendent Spring. There's a school district down on Long Island getting 110%. How do you even that out, even if it's everybody getting like 80% of what they're supposed to get? How do you even that out?
These are concerns that I've heard, again, since I've been in office, and equitable distribution of school aid is something that we've been fighting for. We've been in contact with all the superintendents. And we want our fair share. We want to get the same amount of aid that other districts are getting. We want to see, Schenectady school districts, schools in Montgomery County, whether it be Duanesburg, in Schenectady County. We want to make sure that they are all getting their fair amount of state aid, because the inequitable, when it's not equal across the state, it's a problem, and it's something that I sponsored legislation to correct. We want to make sure that our schools are getting the proper amount of aid. We want to make sure that we are working to take down those barriers, and our schools matter. This district is different than other districts across the state, but our students are important to me. They're important to our communities, and they deserve their fair share of state aid.
One of the hot button issues in education lately has been Common Core. What's your position on that?
Well, it's something that we worked on. Again, it's an issue that's come up since I've been in office. And I've only been in office 2 years. This is my second year, but it's an issue that's come up. Again, I have a 10-year-old daughter. My daughter Mariana she's just started school again, and I see it. As a parent and as a legislator, something that we needed to put the brakes on. We needed to bring in reforms to roll this out a little differently than it was rolled out. It was something that was in place. I think got rolled out too soon, but we want to make sure that we make this apply these reforms. And there's legislation in New York State Assembly that I supported. We worked directly with the teachers. We heard from parents, and we heard from students across the district as well, to find out what we needed to do to reform this process, to correct things that were not rolled out correctly, and make this process fair for the students, and make sure that they have the best learning experience possible.
So the overall concept of Common Core is something that you would be in support of. It is the implementation and a lot of the steps that have been taken that you're not in favor.
And again, we took our direction from the teachers.
Right.
They are there every day. They see this firsthand. We listen to the parents. We listen to the concept of Common Core needed to be reformed on how it was rolled out, how the implementation, how to reduce the stress on the teachers, on the students, and ultimately the parents as well.
Excuse me. Moving on to something quite different, but still very important to all of the taxpayers and the business community. Governor Cuomo has said that the state is very good at telling local governments what they need to do without providing the funding that they have. There are some mandates that have really been huge, and yet we haven't seen any sweeping relief as yet coming down the pipe. The governor's property tax rebate passed by the legislature last spring did not benefit business property owners. The average property tax is $32 in Schenectady County per thousand of market value, $7.50 more per thousand than the Capital District average. How do we deal with all of these mandates that the state comes by and says you have to do? Counties have to run Medicaid, there's public assistance, welfare, state pensions, all of that kind of stuff, and yet get some additional money in from the state or from someplace so that it isn't just a burden on the property owners and the business community. How do you do that?
I think that, just backing up a little bit to the other
Sure.
question, providing more state aid to our schools is part of that tax relief process, making sure that we're providing that so that it's not a burden on the on the taxpayers. But also, we need to make sure that we're doing things to help our businesses succeed. One of the things I have written down here is the Wage Theft Prevention Act. That we work with the chamber. We work with some legislation to try and roll that back. That's something I'm clearly in support of.
Can you explain what that is?
It's reporting. It's a reporting process for employees. We're trying to reduce the amount of work that a business has to do to report what wages are, information to employees. Businesses vary in different, there's small businesses, there's bigger businesses. This is a repetitive process that the chamber wanted to see rolled back. So I met with the chambers across the district to try and introduce legislation to roll that back. We're able to reform some of it, but we want to see it eliminated. There's energy surcharge, an energy surcharge that we're able to, again, work on getting rid of. An energy surcharge that was supposed to sunset, that we want to see eliminated. Again, the chamber reached out to me. I've had an open door policy with all our small businesses. Energy costs have been a big problem that we want to try and reduce those energy costs to make businesses, again, reduce the burden on them so that they can be successful. And small businesses, what do they mean? They mean local jobs. It means that families can stay together. They don't have to travel long distances to find jobs down here in downtown Schenectady. Since the time I've been on the county legislature, before I joined the assembly, we worked in economic development, supporting our small businesses because it keeps the community together. It allows people to find local jobs, not to have to travel, not to have to look for jobs in other areas. It keeps keeping small businesses and supporting them, reducing the burdens on them from the state. Not passing down unfunded mandates, making sure that we go in the other direction, and making sure that they can succeed, because when they succeed, the local economy succeeds, and again, it all means local jobs.
Well, we have just about a minute left, I think, a couple of minutes left. Let me just end up this interview by asking you point blank, as a member of the business community, as a member of the chamber, why should I vote for you?
Well, I've been working, I've been working to support our small businesses, trying to make sure that they can succeed. We've introduced things to boost the local economy: Empire State Film Tax Credit, Live Theater Tax Credit. These are things that are going to bring business to our upstate cities, support our local economy. I've been working to reduce taxes for our property taxpayers, for our small businesses, eliminating things like the energy surcharge, working on reducing repetitive legislation, listening to the chamber, having an open door policy, finding out what the needs are, whether it's energy costs, whether it's unfunded mandates. I've been listening. I've had an open door. I've attended a lot of chamber events, hearing directly from our small businesses, working to make sure our communities can thrive. When small businesses thrive, our community thrives. When education is properly funded, you see the rest of the community benefit as well for future generations. And we want other people to start their businesses here, to keep our families together. My parents came to New York from Italy. I'm a first generation here. They came here so that we could be together, so that the family could stay together. And I want that opportunity to exist for other families. And that's why it's been great representing the area that my parents came to in the New York State Assembly. I'd love to do that and keep representing and fighting for our small businesses.
All right. Thank you very much, Angelo Santabarbara, for taking time to join me today and to share your thoughts and ideas on issues facing us in Schenectady and the Capital Region. To see interviews with candidates for the New York State 46th and 49th Senate District, 110th, 111th, and 112th Assembly District, and the 20th Congressional District, visit SchenectadyChamber.org. And please remember to vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th.